Welcome back everyone. Today we're dissecting the latest numbers from a giant in the tech services space, Wipro Limited.
That's right. Wipro, listed as WIT on the NYSE and Wipro on the NSE and BSE, is a major global player in technology services and consulting. They've got a huge footprint, operating across 65 countries with over 233,000 employees. It's always interesting to see how these tech titans are navigating the current environment.
Absolutely. So they've released their financial results for the quarter and the full year ended March 31st, 2025. These results were approved by their board of directors in meetings held over April 15th and 16th, 2025. We'll be focusing primarily on the consolidated results reported under IFRS, which is what they highlight in their press release, but we'll touch upon the standalone figures where relevant.
Sounds good. Let's dive into the consolidated IFRS numbers for the fourth quarter Q4 FY25. Gross revenue came in at 225 billion rupees, which translates to about $2.63 billion. Now, that's a slight increase of 0.8% quarter over quarter and 1.3% year over year.
Okay, modest top-line growth. What about the IT services segment specifically? That's their core engine, right?
Exactly. IT services segment revenue for Q4 was $2,596.5 million. That's actually a decrease of 1.2% quarter over quarter and 2.3% year over year in reported terms. On a constant currency basis, the decline was a bit softer, down 0.8% quarter over quarter and 1.2% year over year.
So, a bit of softness in the core IT services revenue sequentially and year on year. How did that translate to the bottom line for the quarter?
This is where it gets interesting. Despite the revenue dip in IT services, the consolidated net income for Q4 saw a healthy jump. It came in at 35.7 billion rupees, or about $417.8 million. That's up 6.4% compared to the previous quarter, Q3, and a strong 25.9% increase compared to Q4 of last year.
Wow, revenue down slightly in the core segment but net profit up significantly year over year and sequentially. That points towards some effective cost management or margin improvement. What about the earnings per share, the EPS?
The consolidated EPS for Q4 followed the profit trend. Basic EPS was 3.41 rupees and diluted was 3.39 rupees. That's an increase of about 6.2% quarter over quarter and roughly 25.8% year over year. So solid growth there.
And how did the full financial year 25 look on a consolidated basis?
For the full year ended March 31st, 2025, consolidated gross revenue was 890.9 billion rupees or $10.4 billion, which was actually down slightly by 0.7% year over year. IT services revenue for the year was $10,511.5 million, a decrease of 2.7% year over year or 2.3% in constant currency. However, similar to the quarterly story, the consolidated net income for the full year was strong, hitting 131.4 billion rupees or $1.54 billion. That's an 18.9% increase year over year. Full year basic EPS was 12.56 rupees, up 20.3% year over year.
Okay, so the pattern holds for the full year too. Top line pressure, especially in IT services, but significant improvement in profitability. Did other income play a big role here?
Looking at the consolidated income statement for Q4, finance and other income was 11.8 billion rupees, which is quite substantial compared to finance expenses of 3.8 billion rupees. For the full year, it was 38.2 billion rupees versus finance costs of 14.8 billion rupees. So yes, other income definitely contributed positively to the bottom line in both the quarter and the full year.
Let's talk profitability margins then. That seems to be a key part of the story.
It really is. Wipro highlighted their IT services operating margin for Q4 at 17.5%. That was flat compared to Q3, but represented an expansion of 1.1% year over year. For the full financial year 25, the IT services operating margin was 17.1%, which is up by 0.9% compared to the previous year. The Chief Financial Officer, Aparna Iyer, specifically mentioned their focus on execution rigor, ensuring margins steadily expanded, even in a softening revenue environment.
That's impressive margin expansion in a tough environment. Were there any exceptional items reported in the consolidated results that might have influenced these profit numbers?
Based on the main income statement provided in the IFRS results, there are no line items explicitly labeled as exceptional items. This suggests the reported profit growth is likely driven by operational factors, margin management, and perhaps that other income component we discussed, rather than one-off gains.
Good to know. Shifting gears slightly to the balance sheet, any key call-outs from the consolidated IFRS statement as of March 31, 2025?
Sure. On the consolidated IFRS balance sheet, goodwill stands out at 325 billion rupees. Cash and cash equivalents were about 122 billion rupees. Investments, both current and non-current, are quite significant, totaling over 437 billion rupees. Total equity attributable to the equity holders reached 828 billion rupees. It's a substantial balance sheet, as you'd expect.
And cash flows? How did they fare on the consolidated level?
Cash flow performance looks robust. For Q4, operating cash flows were 37.5 billion rupees, which is 104.4% of the net income for the quarter. For the full year, operating cash flows were strong at 169.4 billion rupees, representing 128.2% of net income for the year. That's very healthy cash conversion. They also mentioned the interim dividend of 6 rupees per share declared back in January will be considered the final dividend for the financial year 24-25.
Excellent cash generation. Now, let's break down the performance by segment. IT services is the behemoth, but how did the different parts within it perform?
Okay, looking at the IT services revenue mix for Q4 FY25. By geography, Americas 1 contributed 32.8%, Americas 2 was 30.6%, Europe made up 26.1%, and APMEA, Asia Pacific Middle East Africa, was 10.5%. Sequentially, Europe saw the biggest dip, while Americas 1 actually showed slight growth. Year over year, all regions except Americas 1 showed declines in constant currency terms. By sector, banking, financial services, and insurance, BFSI is the largest at 34.2%. Consumer followed at 18.9%, energy, manufacturing and resources, EMR, at 17.3%, technology at 15.2%, and health at 14.4%. Most sectors saw sequential dips, though EMR grew slightly. Year-over-year performance was mixed, with health showing growth, but EMR seeing a significant decline.
So some variations there across geos and verticals. What about bookings? That often gives a clue about future revenue.
Bookings are a highlight. Total bookings TCV, total contract value, for Q4 was strong at $3.96 billion, up 13.4% quarter-over-quarter in constant currency. Even more impressive was the large deal bookings TCV, which came in at $1.76 billion for Q4. That's a jump of 48.5% year-over-year in constant currency. For the full year, large deal bookings were $5.4 billion, up 17.5% year-over-year. However, total bookings for the full year were down slightly at $14.3 billion, a decrease of 3.8% year-over-year.
Strong large deal momentum. That's a positive sign. You mentioned standalone results earlier. How do they compare briefly?
Right. The standalone results, reported under Ind AS, naturally show smaller numbers as they represent the parent company in India. For instance, standalone profit after tax for Q4 FY25 was 28.9 billion rupees compared to the consolidated 35.7 billion rupees. For the full year, standalone PAT was 107.9 billion rupees versus consolidated 131.4 billion rupees. The trends often differ slightly due to subsidiary performance included in consolidation, but the big picture remains. The consolidated entity is much larger, and in this case, showed stronger overall profit growth year-over-year.
Got it. So summarizing the performance, it's a mixed bag with top-line challenges, but strong profitability and large deal wins. What's the management commentary around this?
CEO Srini Pallia highlighted closing the year with mega deal wins, growth in top accounts, and improved client satisfaction. He acknowledged the cautious client spending due to macroeconomic uncertainty and emphasized focusing on partnerships and profitable growth. The CFO, Aparna Iyer, as we mentioned, focused on the execution rigor driving margin expansion and the robust cash flow generation, aiming to maintain margins in a narrow band going forward.
Any other significant events or notes from the reports? They usually mention major deals.
Yes, the press release detailed several strategic deal wins in Q4. A major one is a 10-year deal with Phoenix Group in the UK for life and pension administration, leveraging Wipro's platform and tech capabilities. They also highlighted wins with a North American financial institution, a European appliance manufacturer, a large US health insurer, and others across various sectors, often involving AI, cloud, and automation. They also received recognition from various industry analysts like HFS, Avasant, Everest Group, ISG, and Gartner across different service areas.
Okay, now for a crucial check, the auditor's reports. We have reports for standalone Ind AS, consolidated Ind AS, and consolidated IFRS, all audited by Deloitte Haskins and Sells LLP. What did they say? Any red flags?
This is always critical. I've reviewed the auditor reports provided with the results filings. For the standalone Ind AS results for the quarter and year ended March 31, 2025, Deloitte issued an unmodified opinion. Similarly, for the consolidated Ind AS results, they also issued an unmodified opinion. And importantly, for the consolidated IFRS results which we've been focusing on, Deloitte again issued an unmodified opinion. There were no emphasis of matter paragraphs or key audit matters highlighted in the opinion sections of these reports provided in the filings.
Unmodified opinions across the board? That's positive news and quite different from some other reports we've seen. It suggests the auditors found the financial statements to be presented fairly in accordance with the respective accounting standards.
Exactly. Clean opinions from the auditors provide a good degree of assurance regarding the presented numbers for both the standalone and consolidated entities under both Ind AS and IFRS.
Alright, so with those clean audit reports in mind, what's the outlook Wipro has provided?
Wipro provided guidance for the next quarter, Q1 FY26, ending June 30, 2025. They expect revenue from their IT services business segment to be in the range of $2,505 million to $2,557 million. They explicitly state this translates to a sequential guidance of -3.5% to -1.5% in constant currency terms.
A forecast for a sequential decline? That aligns with the cautious commentary from management.
It does. It suggests they anticipate the near-term headwinds continuing into the next quarter. Of course, beyond the guidance, the usual risks apply. Macroeconomic conditions affecting client spending, intense competition in the IT services sector, managing talent attrition, which was 15% on a trailing 12-month basis, and execution on those large deals.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Disclaimer. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice. Please consult with a certified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
So Wipro's Q4 and FY25 results show a company navigating a challenging demand environment. Key takeaways are the pressure on IT services revenue growth, but counterbalanced by strong execution leading to healthy operating margin expansion and robust net profit growth, especially year-over-year. Cash flow generation is excellent, and the significant large deal wins are a definite positive for the future pipeline.
And importantly, unlike some situations, Wipro received clean, unmodified audit opinions across their standalone and consolidated financials under both Ind AS and IFRS, which adds confidence to the reported figures. However, the cautious outlook for the upcoming quarter signals that near-term challenges persist.
Precisely. Investors will be watching closely to see if the strong deal momentum can translate into revenue growth revival in the coming quarters, and if they can maintain those impressive margins amidst ongoing market uncertainties.
A complex picture but a fascinating one. Thanks for breaking that down for us.
My pleasure.
That's all for this episode. Join us next time as we analyze another key player.